Fear is something that we make up in our minds. The fear of the future, the anxiety of what if something happens, or what if something doesn't happen. This fear is not real, but the problem is that this fear is so strong and it keeps us from doing the things that we want to do in our lives and accomplishing the goals that we want to accomplish. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about fear and the role that fear plays in our lives. I'm going to share with you the method that I have used in order to conquer my fear and accomplish the things that I want to accomplish and move on in my life with more intention and less fear of what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. Many people believe that they're going to do something great in their life, but there's something holding them back. There's something that's putting a barrier in front of them and they just can't quite overcome that barrier. And that thing that holds people back from what they want to do in life is fear. The interesting thing about fear is that fear is a construct of the mind. Fear is actually not a real thing, but a thing that we as human beings make up in our minds, and we put it in front of us as something that is this grandiose, large thing that's going to keep us from doing the things that we want to do, and there are ways to overcome that. The problem with this fear is that even though it's not a real thing, in our minds, we perceive it to be real and it feels real to us, and it feels so strong and so paralyzing that sometimes, no matter how intentional we want to be, no matter how much we want to accomplish something, we just don't do it because we are afraid. And I have experienced this with starting my coaching business and even starting this very YouTube channel. I've procrastinated it for actually several years because I've been afraid of starting the YouTube channel because I was afraid that I'm gonna fail at YouTube. I was afraid of what people might think when they see me on camera. I was afraid that people are not going to want to hear what I have to say and people are not gonna resonate with what I have to say. But I realized that by letting this fear hold me back, I'm not gonna give people in this world the opportunity to even hear what I have to say and to even have the opportunity to either click or not click on the videos. So today I'm gonna share with you the method that I have used and that has helped me to start my coaching business and to actually launch my YouTube channel. I'm going to introduce you to a method that I have been using to overcome my fear and start taking actions on some of the things that I've always wanted to do. And this method is often used in the world of meditation and mindfulness, and it's an Eastern and Western philosophy that a lot of people use in order to deal with difficult emotions such as fear. This method is called the R.A.I.N Method. R-A-I-N. The R stands for recognize, the A stands for acknowledge, the I stands for investigate, and the N stands for non-identification. R-A-I-N, R.A.I.N. So the first step to dealing with a difficult emotion like fear is to recognize that something inside of you is unstable. You were feeling one way before, and now you're feeling a different way. And this is what I mean to recognize that your state of being has now changed and that you are feeling something completely different than what you were feeling before. So after you recognize that something inside of you is unstable, the next step is to acknowledge. Acknowledging in this case is accepting that you feel afraid in this moment and you are not running away from that emotion. You're not trying to hide away from that emotion. You're recognizing that the emotion is there and you're acknowledging that indeed you feel that emotion. You feel that fear right now. And the reason why this acknowledgement is very important is because we can only change the things that we are connected to. So in order to change or in order to deal with an emotion like fear, you first have to be connected to it, because We can only impact the things that we're directly connected to. Things that we're not connected to, we don't have the ability to directly impact those things. So the next step after you recognize, acknowledge, it's to investigate. To investigate is to play the role of essentially a detective, to look inside of yourself and to investigate exactly why do you feel the way that you do? Why do you feel afraid? You were feeling one way before, but something triggered you inside of your body to feel a certain way now. You feel angry, you feel afraid, you feel sad. You need to investigate and ask your questions. Why do I now feel this way? What happened in my life to make me feel this way? Who did I interact with, and how was that conversation, or how was that interaction, and how did it impact what I'm feeling inside of me? So after recognizing, acknowledging, and investigating, the fourth step is to not identify. What do I mean by not identify? So to not identify is to realize that your emotions, what's happening inside of you, this fear, this anger, this sadness, it's happening inside of you, but it is not who you are as a human being. You are who you are, and your anger is your anger. Those are two separate things, and the whole point of this is to not let your emotions define who you are as a person. So when you feel angry, or when you feel afraid, or when you feel sad, you do not feel that because I feel angry, I am an angry person. Because I feel afraid, I am a scared person. Or because I feel sad, I am a sad person. This method helps you not identify with those emotions, meaning that you create a separation between you and your emotions. That way you're actually able to step back, look back, and say, how can I deal with this? I feel this way right now. I know that how I'm feeling right now is not who I am as a human being. So now I can actually step back and be able to deal with it because I'm not choosing to identify with that particular emotion. So understanding and not letting these emotions define you, you can also think about it from a world and planetary standpoint, that despite how you feel in terms of these negative emotions or these strong emotions, the world is the way it is. Whether you feel sad, whether you feel angry, whether you feel happy, the sun is going to shine the same way today that it's going to shine the same way tomorrow. Your feelings are something that are existing within your world, and this is something that helped me once I realized that because I feel a certain way on this particular day, it doesn't mean that the whole world feels the same way that I do. It doesn't mean that my whole world has changed. It just meant that I felt a certain way that day and I can feel a different way tomorrow. So it was up to me to decide if I wanted to take that initiative to change that mindset and change that story and choose to deal with those emotions and not let those emotions define who I am as a person. So the key takeaway here, and sharing a little bit of my experience with using the R.A.I.N method, is what it gave me was overview and focus, knowing specifically where to focus. What I mean by overview is that it allowed me to step back, take my eyes off of that emotion and not be laser focused on that emotion every single minute, every single hour of the day, but rather step back, take a look at my life, take a look at what's going on in this world, and realize that I feel like this today because of this. I can feel completely different tomorrow. And then the focus part here that I gain from using the R.A.I.N method is once I take that step back, once I take that overview of my life and my emotions, now I'm able to ask myself those questions that I've asked myself in the investigation part of the method, and I'm able to now focus in on specific situations or specific conversations or specific people that I need to address in order to solve this emotion and not feel this such strong emotion, or not let this emotion hold me back from doing something that I need to do. So the key here is having both the overview and having the focus, because when you have the overview and the focus, you're able to look at your life in a holistic perspective, and you're able to go through the R.A.I.N method and focus in on those particular emotions that you need to deal with before you move on. So think about when you're driving a car, right? When you're on a highway or you're driving down the street, you need to have both overview and focus when you're driving in a car. You need to have the overview of understanding where you're going to go, where is your destination. So you need that overview, and you also need the focus of realizing that you are driving and you are on the road and you're watching the red lights, you're watching the lanes, you're watching other cars and the turn signal. So both the overview and the focus turns you into a successful driver, right? If you lack the overview and don't know where you're going, you're never gonna get there. And if you lack the focus, you're probably gonna get in your car and hit somebody because you don't understand what's going on outside of you. So having both the overview and the focus is what the R.A.I.N method gives you in terms of emotions, and that has been a game changer for me. So through building my business and starting this YouTube channel, I faced a lot of resistance, and most of that resistance was due to the fear of failure, or the fear of what people are gonna think, or the fear of what my friends are gonna think, and what other people are gonna think. And part of the journey of using the R.A.I.N method taught me that these feelings are never gonna go away and they're never gonna disappear, but what I can do is to have a better relationship with them in a way that I can recognize when those feelings come up. I can acknowledge and accept that, yes, indeed, I feel different than I felt before. I can investigate by asking questions about why I feel that way, and then I can not identify and realize that my feelings do not define who I am as a human being, and I can move past that and still accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish in life. I can still build my coaching business. I can still start that YouTube channel and many other goals that I have in the future. Understanding this R.A.I.N method and using this R.A.I.N method has probably been one of the best things I've ever done and one of the most effective methods that I've ever implemented in my life. I've started building my coaching business, and I've started posting content on YouTube, and every single time that I post a piece of content, I feel resistance. There's always the urge inside of me to not do it because I'm either afraid that the piece of content that I'm gonna be posting out there is not gonna work, or it's not good enough, or people are not gonna resonate with it. But what I've realized is you have to get through that. You have to get through that. You have to cross that barrier, and you have to throw those content out there into the world and let the market decide, let the people decide. Those who resonate with that information will come and listen, and everybody else, it doesn't matter. Talk to your people, post for your people, and build that community. And that's something that I'm actively doing right now. So I encourage you to go through the R.A.I.N method and implement the R.A.I.N method in your life, and post in the comments below how you plan on implementing the R.A.I.N method or any results that you get from the R.A.I.N method. I would love to hear about them. So like the video if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe to be notified for my future content. And as always, take care and have a wonderful day.